Hello and welcome to another video, and oh boy do we have an exciting one for you today. Have you ever stepped on board a plane and been taken aback by its colossal size? Today we'll tell you about some of the biggest airplanes that exist and are in use. In a future video, we'll also show you some prototypes of future planes that will blow your socks off. Welcome to our channel, where we share with you all of the amazing places on this planet to put on your bucket list. If you're new here, we trust you're going to love this video, and if you're a subscriber, thank you for coming back. We're going to split this video into 3 parts, each with a different interpretation of biggest. So make sure your seatbelt is on and get ready for takeoff. World's largest airplanes by length. One way to measure the bigness of an airplane is by how long it is from the front to the back. If all planes in the world suddenly balanced on their nose, it would be super freaky, and these 3 would be the tallest. Number 3, Boeing 777-9. Coming in at 77 meters, we have the longest variant of the 777X. This plane is the largest passenger airplane in the world, having enough space for 426 passengers. However, if you're tempted to book tickets on this behemoth, don't rush. The plane is currently still in its testing stages and is due to carry passengers through the skies in 2025. Although it has already been test flown several times and things are looking promising. Oh, and if you want your own, have your accountant ready, as it will set you back $200 million. Other variants of the 777X include the 777-8, 777-10X, BBJ 777X, and Freighter. However, these are shorter than the 777-9. Number 2, Antonov An-225 Mriya. The An-225 was initially designed by the Soviet Union as a military aircraft. However, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it found a new use as a cargo carrier, and at 84 meters long, you could fit a fair amount inside. After retiring from the military, this incredible feat of engineering sat collecting dust for 8 years before they finally had the sense to turn it into a cargo plane. Unfortunately, we have to use the word could because in 2022, the plane was destroyed in the Battle of Antonov Airport. Number 1, Caspian Sea Monster. The longest plane ever is another Soviet-Russian invention. Unlike the other aircraft on this list, the Sea Monster was what's known as the ground effect vehicle, meaning it used support from the air between the sea and the base to fly. With an incredible length of 92 meters, this military vehicle would have been difficult to miss. Therefore, it could never fly higher than 14 meters, but it's still an incredible feat of engineering. Too bad it crashed into the sea in 1980. Whether this should even count as an airplane is up for debate. According to the dictionary definition, it's an airplane. Still, according to the Soviet Navy, it's a boat, even though it was operated by the Air Force. In fact, on its maiden voyage, champagne was broken against its nose. We'll leave you to decide whether or not this vehicle should even be in this video. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit that subscribe button for more content like this. It really helps out our small channel, and we appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. World's largest airplanes by wingspan. Another way to measure the size of a plane is by its wingspan. To find out a plane's wingspan, you need to measure it from the tip of one wing to the tip of the other. Once you do that, you'll find these 3 as the biggest. Number 3, Antonov An-225 Mriya. I know, we've already spoken about this, but don't worry, I won't say more than what needs to be said. The An-225 has a wingspan of 88 meters. Its last mission was to carry COVID tests from China to Denmark. Number 2, Hughes H4 Hercules. Now, this plane is super cool. It had a wingspan of 98 meters, and although it only ever had one flight, it did show what humans are capable of creating. The Hercules wasn't a traditional airplane, is what's known as a flying boat, which means that when it's not in the air, it also sails along the sea, just like a ship. It can't get too high, only 8 meters when it does fly. But the boat/plane combination allows it the speed of an airplane with the storage capabilities of a boat. Hercules, the largest flying boat ever, was made by the USA during the Second World War to transport war material to our friends across the pond in Britain. But what makes this plane super cool is that it's entirely made from wood. During the war, aluminum had to be heavily restricted. Not to be held back by a challenge, engineers used wood to create this magnificent flying machine. Number 1, Stratolaunch. With a wingspan of 117 meters, the Stratolaunch, which first took flight in 2019, has the largest wingspan of any plane in history. The wings are so vast because the airplane needs to be high, and we mean incredibly high. The purpose of the stratolaunch is to send objects into space, be that satellites, supplies for astronauts, or anything else that needs to leave Earth's orbit. So the plane will fly to the outer edges of our atmosphere before shuttles launch the cargo into space. World's largest planes by passenger numbers, and the final way we'll measure the length of a plane is by how many passengers it can carry. We respect that this one may be controversial. Some of the biggest planes are for cargo or military use, not passengers. However, we want to give you an idea of how big some of the aircraft you may step onto can be. Number 3. Boeing 747-8. Another plane from Boeing. Although this one might be shorter than some of the other Boeings in this video, that one fits fewer seats than the 747-8. Although some 747-8s have been turned into cargo planes, the ones that hold seats can carry up to 467 passengers. These planes have been taking to the skies since 2011. If the rumor is to be believed, then by 2024 the famous Air Force One could be replaced with a Boeing 747-8. Although, unless our next president has a lot of traveling buddies, we're not sure there's much need. Number 2. Boeing 747. One day, Pan Am, an American-based international airline, wanted to make flying as cheap as possible. In 1958, the 707 flew. However, Pan Am wanted to make it 2.5 times as big, which would reduce the cost of each seat by 30%, enabling more Americans than before to fly. The result was the Boeing 747, the first jumbo jet in history. It can carry a whopping 524 people, although in 1991 it managed to carry 1,087 passengers during Operation Solomon, which airlifted Ethiopian Jews into Israel. Although we have a feeling safety inspectors might not have been too happy if they had known. Number 1. A380 Airbus. The A380 Airbus is the largest passenger plane in the world. Unless there is a significant breakthrough in engineering, it will probably be the largest passenger plane there will be for a while. To date, the A380 is the only full-length double-decker airplane in the world, with enough seats to fit up to 853 passengers. Has there ever been a flight that needed that many people? We're not sure, but since 2007, Singapore Airlines has kept it in the sky. There are, of course, plenty of other ways we could have measured the largeness of planes. We could have looked at their interior volume, total surface area, weight, height, and the list goes on. However, if we included all of those, this video would have to be much longer, and we're sure many of you would get bored. But length, wingspan, and passenger capacity are the criteria that we think are the most interesting to talk about. So, to recap, what counts as the world's largest airplane depends on how you define large. If you define large as the longest airplane, it's the Caspian Sea Monster at 92 meters. If you define it by the wingspan, it's the Stratolaunch with wings of 117 meters from tip to tip. And if you define it by passenger capacity, it's the Airbus A380 with 853 passengers. We hope you've all enjoyed and gotten something out of this video. Comment below, and if you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to love this other video from our channel. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want more content like this. See you soon, and until then, bon voyage!